Hi, am I audible? Okay. So ace your term 2 exams with Unacademy Plus. So Unacademy Plus subscription at flat 10% off. Let me just check. Okay. Okay, so welcome to class, dear learners. I am Vani Kari. Okay. Oh, there is 1 second. There is a lot of disturbance. 1 second. All right, yeah, now it is fine. So welcome to class. This is Vani Kari, biology educator at Unacademy. I'm an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. Okay, so what we are going to study today, it is on the capacities of lung. Okay, and this is my referral code Vani YT. Okay, so Vani YT, Vani is my name, YT is for YouTube. Okay, so you can easily remember this one. So with this particular code you will be getting 10% discount on plus subscription. Okay, so this is plus subscription for Unacademy Learners app. So all you need to do is download the Unacademy Learners app, and you can watch the special classes, the free classes mainly, and the plus classes as well. So where it will be done in a regular manner. So I'll be telling you, informing about this one. So follow Unacademy Champions on Telegram. So link you will find in description box. Okay, so subscribers on YouTube, now let's target about 1000 subscribers. So click on the bell icon whenever the classes are there, so you'll be getting the notifications. Okay, so moving on to capacities of the lung. Okay, so we have seen like what exactly is the lung structure. So there is bronchi, bronchioles, then we have seen the terminal bronchi, or the what we call as the alveolus. Okay, so alveolar sac, the alveolus. So we have seen a structure of this one in previous class, and what happens in the mechanism of breathing, that is respiratory cycle. So what are the muscles which are involved? We have discussed about the external intercostal muscles, then internal intercostal muscles. So there is a contraction and relaxation is occurring, and because of that what will happen, so the air is gonna move in and air is gonna move out, so that will lead to inhalation and exhalation. So this process we have seen in last class. So today's class we will see the capacities of the lung, or the respiratory volumes also we can mention. Okay, so different we are not aware about this. Naturally this is happening, right? So we are continuously breathing in and we are continuously breathing out, so that we mention as a tidal volume. So air breathe in and out of the normal quiet, that is unforced. So we can breathe forcefully also, so which will make it a voluntary action. So now involuntary action is basically the muscles. Now inside your let's say there is between these rib cages, or between this particular Today will be the last class of this chapter. Yes, today is the last class, and actually tomorrow I'll be solving the important questions from this chapter. Okay, so tomorrow I'll be solving the important questions from this chapter, and after that let's see. So you have said about the aids to health, right? Hygiene, health and hygiene you have said. I'll just look at that. Okay, so I'll keep a class on that. Okay, so yes, so here the air that is breathed in and out in a normal, quiet or unforced breathing, what is that? So that we call as the tidal volume. So then there is dead air space and alveolar air is there. Okay, so dead air space, you can see the volume given here is 150 ml and alveolar air is basically 350 ml. Okay, so tidal volume when we mention, so let's just see here. So tidal volume is basically when you are breathing in and out. So what is going to happen? So there is a trachea. Okay, so this trachea is dividing into bronchi. So the bronchi formation is there. Then there is further branching, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi formation you can see. So let's say this is a tertiary bronchi now, and then there will be formation of bronchioles. Okay, so bronchiole formation we can see. So here when all this is happening, so some tidal air is left in the respiratory passages such as trachea and bronchi where no diffusion of gases can occur. So now when you breathe in, okay, so now you are breathing in. So when you breathe in, okay, so what is happening? So this particular air is completely not reaching this. So this is the bronchi now, okay, bronchioles. So this one will have a alveolar sac here. Okay, so this is now a alveolar sac is there. So here all the air that you breathe in, so it is not reaching the alveoli all the time. So some amount of air will remain here itself, some amount of air will remain in here itself. Okay, so some can remain in the bronchioles and some can remain in the trachea, and that volume of air which is remaining, okay, so that we mention as a dead air space. Okay, so dead air space is basically whenever the air which you inhale, so it is not reaching the alveoli for exchange. So this air particularly remains in the trachea. So some amount of air that remains in the trachea, some amount of air can remain in the bronchioles also. So that air, what is there? So that is called as a dead air space, and it is about 150 ml. Okay, so it is about 150 ml. And then so this is out of what? This we are talking out of the tidal volume. So tidal volume is amount of air that you breathe in and out. So this is about 500 ml. Day after, please take up health and hygiene from Candid book. So you are having a Candid book. You are following Candid book, Yashasvi. So it is usually suggested to follow Selena, right? I don't have a Candid book. I have only the Selena as of now. Okay, and it is suggested to follow the Selena according to me. So you can just confirm once. Okay. All right, so here the dead air space is there. Then the other volume, okay, so the other volume is basically the alveolar air, that is the tidal air which is contained in the sacs. Okay, so tidal air which is present. So now when you breathe in, so there is a particular air which is going to reach over here. Okay, so now this is the air which has reached this particular alveoli, so that we consider as a alveolar air. Okay, so just a second. So here this all this air which is still remaining over here, so this we mention as a dead air space, and the one which is reaching the alveoli, so that we mention as what? That we mention as alveolar. Now this one is alveolar air, and it is about 350 ml. So now if we are mentioning, so let's say, so tidal volume is equal to dead air space plus alveolar air. Okay, so tidal volume is TV. Okay, so TV is equals to DAS and alveolar air. That means 500 ml, it is equal to 150 ml plus 350 ml. Is this clear? So this is about the tidal volume. Okay, next one is inspiratory reserve volume. So what is inspiratory reserve volume? The air that can be drawn in forcibly over and above the tidal air. That means, so now normal breathing in, what you are doing, so that is fine. Okay, so we are normally breathing in and we are breathing out, so we are not getting noticed about this one much. But now when we mention about the inspiratory reserve volume, so forcibly you are inhaling air. Okay, so let's say this is normally I'm breathing now. Okay, so this is in a normal condition. Now what I'll do, I'll inspire more air. Like if I inspire forcefully, okay, it is not the normal one, forcibly over and above the tidal air, if I inhale the air, okay, so I can take up to, so also called as the complemental air. Okay, so this particular air, what is that? So this is about 3000 ml. Okay, so that is inspiratory reserve volume. So you can see here, this one is a tidal volume. Okay, so there is inspiration, and then there is expiration, then there is inspiration, then all at once what you'll do, so you are forcefully breathing in. Okay, so when you forcefully breathe in, so this is gonna give you the inspiratory reserve volume, this one, not this one. Okay, so this particular one, so this is forceful one, so only this part what is there. Okay, so only till this part, this is the extra amount of air that you are going to take in, so that is gonna form about 3000. See that tidal volume is 500 ml. Okay, so this is for a normal breathing. Then forcefully, okay, so inspiratory reserve volume, so this one is IRV. Okay, so when you forcefully breathe in, so the amount of air that you are going to take in extra is 3000 ml. Okay, so 3000 ml you will be taking. So now we want to find the inspiratory capacity. So let's see this one. So I hope this one is clear. Okay, so here the tidal volume is 500 ml, inspiratory reserve volume is basically 3000 ml. So you are taking in more and more air. Okay, so that is when the total volume of air a person can breathe in after a normal expiration. That means, so tidal volume is there, so which is about 500 ml, and then inspiratory reserve volume, what is there? So this is about 3000 ml. So this one is gonna give us the inspiratory capacity. Okay, so this is gonna give us 3500 ml. So this is inspiratory capacity. You can see here the inspiratory capacity is there, so which will include the tidal volume plus the forceful breathing. Okay, that is forceful inhalation. So this together, so this one and this one together, or on the whole we can mention this part and this part together, we will be getting this inspiratory capacity. Is this clear? Are you understanding? Okay, so inspiratory capacity, that is total volume of air a person can breathe in after a normal expiration, that is 3500 ml. Then there is expiratory reserve volume. So this one what you see here, so this was actually the inspiration. Okay, so this one was actually the not the normal one, but the forceful inspiration it was. Okay, so this was forceful inspiration, and this peak what you find here, so this one was for expiration. So now when you are forcefully exhaling, okay, so this one we can mention as the forceful expiration or exhalation. Okay, so this is forceful expiration or exhalation. So here in this you can see that one sec. Yeah, so here in this case you can see, so this is the inspiration and then it is coming down, so this is expiration, then there is inspiration, again expiration, and then there is inspiration, right? So now expiratory reserve volume, when we mention air that can be forcibly expelled out after normal expiration, which can also be called as a supplemental air. Okay, so supplemental air here is 1000 ml. So 1000 ml we can find this particular expiratory air. So that is basically not the normal one but the forceful exhalation. Okay, so forcibly you are exhaling here. In this previous one also there was a forcible inhalation which was done, and because of that there were changes which we could see. Okay, so here the vital capacity when we mention, okay, so vital capacity you can see here it is mentioned, right? So you can see vital capacity. So vital capacity will include the tidal volume. Okay, so here the volume of air, so this is VC now, vital capacity is VC. Okay, so volume of air that can be taken in and expelled out by maximum inspiration and expiration. So as you can see here, this is including the expiratory volume also, expiratory reserve volume. This is including the inspiratory reserve volume also, and this part is basically the tidal volume. So vital capacity when we mention, okay, so vital capacity is gonna give us the tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, and then the expiratory reserve volume. So all this together we will be getting what? We will be getting the vital capacity. So you know TV plus IRV, that is inspiratory capacity, what is it? So that is gonna give us about 3500 ml. Okay, so together this one. Okay, so this is giving us 3500 ml. Okay, and then you know ERV is how much? It is 1000 ml. Okay, so that is vital capacity, what is there? So that we can get up to 4500 ml. Okay, so this is now 4500 ml. As you can see that there is 3500 ml plus 1000 ml. Yes, is this clear now? I hope y'all are understanding. Are you? Reserve volume and then the expiratory reserve volume. All this together we will be getting what? Okay, sorry. So I am actually blocking the path there, right? One second. I'll just write it on the other side. So here I'll write it better. Okay. So one second. Maybe I can just write it over here itself. Okay, so now for I was writing for vital capacity. Okay, so vital capacity is how much? It is 4500 ml. Okay, so there is tidal volume, then there is expiratory reserve volume and expiratory reserve volume. So tidal volume is how much? It is 500 ml, and this one is 3000 ml. Okay, so this is 3000 ml, and this one is 1000 ml. So how much we have got? So it is 3000, 4000, so 4500 ml we are getting for a vital capacity. All right, so that is vital capacity. So same thing I had written here over. So now moving on to the next part, that is residual volume. So you can see here this picture. Yeah, so this picture you can see, this one is representing what? This one is actually representing the inspiratory reserve volume, and this is giving us the expiratory reserve volume, and this is giving us the tidal volume. So all of it is gonna form the vital capacity. And here this part, what is there? So this is actually the residual volume, which is about 1500 ml. So what, let's see what is it. So some air is always left in your lung even after forceful breathing out. So now you expire air or exhale air, like almost. So let's say you want to leave every air that is possible outside. Okay, so even after you do that, so there is some amount of air that is still left in your lung. So lung, when we mention, so here it can be it may not be just the lung, so it can be with respect to bronchi, the bronchioles, or it can be with respect to trachea also. So basically there is some amount of air that is still remaining, so that we call as a residual volume. So some air is always left in the lungs even after forceful breathing out, and that is actually 1500 ml. So you can see this one was vital capacity. Okay, so it include inspiratory, forceful inhalation, forceful exhalation, and this is normal breathing in and out. Okay, so now after this, now if I want to calculate what is the total lung volume. Okay, so I want to calculate the total lung volume. So you know this part, what is this? So this is giving us the residual volume. Okay, so this width, that is vital capacity, along with residual volume, so it is gonna give us the total lung capacity. So you can see here, so maximum air which can be, okay, so which can at any time be held into two lungs, so that will form us about 6000 ml. So how exactly is that possible? So let's see here. You know, VC is how much? That is vital capacity. So VC is basically 4500 ml. Okay, then this is actually the VC. So this whole part, what is there? So this whole part is VC now. Okay, and then we have this residual volume, which is about 1500 ml. So we will just write this one. So RV is residual volume, and it is about 1500 ml. So this is gonna give us the total lung capacity. So together we are going 6000 ml of this particular air which is present. Okay, so here we are getting each and every term here. So each and every lung capacity term what is mentioned, so everything is important for you all. Okay, so this is the summary what we have here. So tidal volume is going to give us the alveolar air, the air that reaches the alveoli. Dead space air is basically the air which does not reach the alveoli but gets remained, or it will remain in the trachea, or it can be bronchi. So that is about 150 ml. So 350 ml and 150 ml together we are getting a 500 ml. Now inspiratory reserve volume, that is forceful inhalation when you do. Okay, so when you are inhaling forcefully, okay, so that is when you will get this one. So that is about 3000. Okay, so now we want to know the inspiratory capacity. Okay, so this one, that is tidal volume along with this inspiratory reserve volume, so combined together we will get this inspiratory capacity. Okay, so inspiratory capacity is how much? It is about 3500 ml. Okay, so the next one is expiratory reserve volume. So expiratory reserve volume, so that will include, so inspiratory capacity will just a second. So inspiratory capacity is gonna include what? So this is gonna give us, one second, Yeah. So inspiratory capacity is gonna give us this particular, that is 500 ml plus 3000. Okay, so that is we are getting, that is from the forceful inspiration and then the tidal volume here. Okay, so now this is gonna give us inspiratory capacity. Now we want to calculate the expiratory reserve volume. So what we need to do, so this particular part, what is there, so this is forceful exhalation. Okay, so this one is actually the forceful exhalation. So here in this case, so we are going to calculate plus 1000, so that is gonna give us this particular 4500 ml. Okay, so that means this is actually the vital capacity, which includes the tidal volume, the inspiratory reserve volume, and then the expiratory reserve volume. So I'll just write it over here. So all this what we want to know, so I'll just write here. Okay, so tidal volume, when we mention, it is actually what, it is actually the alveolar air and dead air space. Okay, so it is dead air space, so which is giving us about 500 ml. So here this is 350 ml, and this one is about 150 ml. Okay, so this is about 150 ml. Now moving on to the next one. So now I want to calculate the inspiratory capacity. So inspiratory capacity is how much? It is 3500. So why? That is because it is giving me the volume. So there is tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. So this one is, as you know, 500 and inspiratory reserve volume is 3000. So I'll be getting 3500. Now I want to calculate the vital capacity, which is about 4500 ml. Okay, so this is going to include TV plus IRV plus ERV. So this is going to give me about 500 plus 3000 plus 1000. So you can calculate here. So it is forming about 4500 ml. Okay, so next what we need to calculate is, so we need to calculate, so this is you are getting, so 4000, then there is residual volume which is present. Okay, so residual volume, so now I want to calculate the total lung capacity. So you can see residual volume is 1500 ml. So this is gonna give me about 6000 ml here. That means the residual volume is about 1500 ml plus the vital capacity, which is 4500 ml. So total I'll be getting 6000 ml. So this you need to remember. Okay, so this is very important, all the terms. Okay, so all terms are important. Okay, so you need to know the definition as well. Yes, any doubt here? So this is all important. All right, so this one you can remember easily. You can just remember the summary of this respiratory volumes. Okay, so any doubt in this? So inspired air versus expired air, we will see the differences. Okay, just a second. Yeah. Okay, so inspired air versus expired air. The air inside the lung is never replaced completely. So the air which is present, so it is never replaced completely. It is always a mixture of the air left inside and the air inspired. Okay, that means, so air that you are inspiring every day. Okay, so it is not going completely out. So what is happening? So basically mixing up of the air is occurring. So there is some amount of air which is always remaining in your lungs. Okay, so it can be trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, or the lung. Okay, so the alveoli. So there is some amount of air that is always remaining. So it is always a mixture of the air that is left inside, and what else will be there? So you will be inspiring air, right? So that air which you have inspired, so that air, and also the the air which was left inside. So both of this together we are getting this inspired air there. So it is always a mixture, okay, it is not like 100% pure, okay, so it is not completely or purely inspired air only, it is not that, okay. So it is a mixture which contains air left inside and the air that you inspire. So in other words, the air in the lung is only becoming better and worse with each inspiration and expiration. So now when you inhale there, so there is this trachea now, so there is some amount of air that is left in, okay. So now when you inhale the air, okay, so inhalation is done. So what is happening now? So this air is gonna get better, okay. So inhalation is a just a second. So air that is inhaled in, so this is gonna get somewhat better. So that is mainly with respect to as you take in oxygen, okay, so you are taking in air, so it will be rich in oxygen, so it is gonna get better or worse also with the inspiration and expiration. So let's say one is doing the exhalation function, so in that case happening, so there is still air that is remaining and it will get mixed with what? So the air that has to go out, okay, so there is a amount of carbon dioxide that has to go out. So now what will air that has to go out, so that will be rich in carbon dioxide. So this air which is left inside, so it will get mixed with the rich air which is, I mean the carbon dioxide rich air, then in that case it can get worse also. So it can get better or it can get worse as well, okay. So quality wise, when we mention, the expired air differs from the inspired air, okay. So expired air, how is it different from the inspired air? Any idea on this one? So how the expired air will be different from the inspired air? So now if we are talking about, so expired air will have oxygen, so less oxygen will be there, more carbon dioxide find in the expired air because all the tissues have formed this carbon dioxide, right? So basically the blood is the one which will be carrying this carbon dioxide and this carbon dioxide is given out. Then it contains more carbon dioxide, yes, it contains more carbon dioxide, less of oxygen. Then it contains more water vapor. So you know that when we write a inspiration, okay, so basically the cellular respiration reaction, okay, so let me just write it. So in cellular respiration you might have seen, so this is with respect to cellular respiration. So what happens in cellular respiration? So basically the glucose is gonna get oxidized, okay. So glucose is gonna get oxidized, where this particular glucose is forming, that is after the oxidation it will be forming this carbon dioxide, the water, and then the ATP or the energy, okay. So adenosine triphosphate. So as you can see that, so there is a formation of water also, there is a, so these need to be removed, okay. So we need to get rid of these two compounds, okay. So we need to get rid of carbon dioxide and water as well, okay. So for that what we will be doing, so we are exhaling, right? So when we are exhaling, so lot of amount of carbon dioxide goes out and you can hold your hand as such. So you can just hold your hand to your nose and mouth, okay. So you can feel that there is some amount of moisture that is or the moisture that is present. It is basically the water vapor, okay. So water is left out in the form of vapor through the lungs or the basically the respiratory system. So it will contain the expired air. What is there? So expired air will contain the water as well as the carbon dioxide, okay. So this we can find, it is warmer or at the same temperature as that of a body. So why is it warm? because it is coming from inside. And body temperature, so you know always the heat also flows from higher temperature to lower temperature. So what is going to happen, so everywhere throughout the body, so same temperature is going to be maintained. So now this particular air, what is there, okay, so this will be somewhat warmer or at the same temperature as that of a body. Okay, so it may contain some bacteria also. So there is a chance that the air that you breathe out, so it can contain some air bacteria. So basically the spores can be present. So these bacteria might also be there in the expired air. Okay, any doubt on this? See the difference between the average composition of inspired air and expired air. Okay, just a second, I'll drink some water. Okay, so the average composition of inspired and expired air, so this you need to know, but need not remember and all. Okay, so just need to know that what is exactly high in what. Okay, so oxygen concentration, okay, so oxygen concentration in inspired air is about 21%, whereas the expired air, what is there, so this is having about 16.4%. Okay, so absorbed at the alveolar surface, so where exactly the absorption is gonna occur, so at the alveoli the exchange is gonna occur. Okay, so deoxygenated blood which was there, okay, so this deoxygenated blood will become oxygenated blood because you will be inspiring air, the air which is rich in this oxygen. Okay, so now when we talk of this one, so carbon dioxide content in case of inspired air, so it is about 0.04%. Okay, and the carbon dioxide content in case of the expired air, so this is about 4%. So this is released at the alveolar surface. Okay, so this also the exchange again. Okay, so here also basically the exchange is occurring. So deoxygenated blood is getting oxygenated, that means so oxygenated blood is there, and what is left, so outside the carbon dioxide is left. So nitrogen, okay, so this is a composition of inspired and expired air. So air can have oxygen, air can have carbon dioxide, air can have the nitrogen, the water vapor is also present, dust particles are present, the temperature regulator, basically temperature we are checking. So nitrogen, what is there, so this will be about 79%. Okay, and the one which is leaving, that is expired air, so that can have up to 79.6%. Okay, so this one basically the nitrogen, what is there, so it is not at all used. Okay, so you can see that some amount of nitrogen is getting, I mean it is going out from the body, but not, it is not being used up. Okay, so that is why the percentage has increased here, so it is completely unused. Then when we talk about the water vapor, so water vapor is basically low here. Okay, so there is low concentration of water vapor we can find, and here the concentration of water vapor is high. Okay, so higher concentration of water vapor we can find it. Then dust particles, when we mention, so variable but usually present, so we can find some amount of dust particles. So there is again a variation which we can see here. So inspired air, so it is depending on what kind of atmosphere you are in. So let's say you are in a market where there is lot of dust, then there can be more amount of dust particle which might be present. Okay, then expired air also can have, but depending on again, so if you had inhaled more amount of dust, then there can be a little amount, or maybe through the sneezing action or coughing action, anyway the dust will be removed out. So little amount of dust we can find with respect to the expired air. So this can get caught in the mucus, and then by coughing or by sneezing, okay, so this will be thrown out of the body. Alright, so next is temperature. So temperature is gonna, again it is variable, so again this depends on the surrounding temperature. Okay, so surrounding temperature, if it is too hot, then the inhaling air, what is this, so that will also be hot. Hi Kashyapestro. Okay, so surrounding air, what is there, so that will also be hot. So this one depend on the surrounding or the surrounding atmosphere. Okay, so now here the expired air, so you know always the thermoregulation is occurring in our body, so that is mainly by the blood. Okay, so thermoregulation which occurs mainly by the blood, so blood is the one which is distributing the heat throughout the body. So now this expired air, what is there, so it will be equivalent to our body temperature, what is there, so that is about 37 degree we can find, so that is with respect to expired air. So this is warmed by the respiratory passages, so mainly because the blood which is circulating throughout, so that will be releasing the heat. So basically the vascular tissues, what are there, okay, so vascular tissues means the ones which are supplied with the blood vessels, where the thermoregulation can be done. Any doubt here? Is this clear till here? So there is, I cleared about the inspired air, the expired air, the capacities. Okay, so any doubts you have? So capacities of the lung we saw. Okay, then there is inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume. Okay, so effect of altitude on breathing we will see. So as we go higher up, the air that we breathe in, okay, so this is basically decrease in pressure accompanied by a gradual decrease in a oxygen content. So oxygen content will be less there as you go up. Okay, so at about 4,500 meters above sea level. No doubt, clear? Okay, so one may suffer from air sickness. Okay, so you might have observed many people will have this air sickness, in which basically lack of oxygen is there. So it can lead to dizziness and unsteady vision. Okay, so loss of hearing, then there can be lack of muscular coordination, and even complete blackouts can be there. Okay, so all these are the symptoms with respect to, so not everyone can feel this one, so depending on how their body is going to take up. So basically oxygen content will be less in them. Okay, I mean at the higher altitude, and the different bodies are going to react in a different way, so for this particular oxygen content. Okay, so now here the hypoxia is there, and then there is asphyxiation. Okay, so these are the two terms basically related with the oxygen which is not supplied sufficient. So insufficient oxygen supply. Okay, so this is insufficient oxygen supply. So now hypoxia, when we mention, okay, so hypoxia is the deficiency of oxygen which is reaching the tissues. So basically oxygen is not able to reach the tissue. So now what happens when you're breathing, so you know there is trachea. Okay, so there is a trachea, then this trachea is going to divide into bronchi, so there will be formation of bronchi. So this bronchi will further divide, so there will be formation of secondary bronchi, then there is tertiary bronchi, then there can be formation of bronchioles, so there is bronchiole formation. This bronchiole is going to form the respiratory bronchioles again, and these bronchioles what are there, so they can form this, so there we can find this alveolar sac. Okay, so now there is a alveoli or alveolar sac. So this is now alveolar sac. So now even though the gas is reaching but the tissues are not able, so you know here surrounding, so let's say this is a alveolus now, so this is one alveolus, so surrounding this we can find a blood capillary. Okay, so there is a blood capillary where the exchange of gases is gonna occur. So what will happen here, the carbon dioxide will be given and from the inspired air the oxygen will be taken in, that is into the capillary. So it is basically because of sitting for a longer hours. Okay, so why this is happening, so there is basically deficiency of this oxygen that happens. Okay, so that is sitting for longer hours in a crowded room. Okay, so crowded room you are sitting, that is with basically the poor ventilation, so less amount of, so what is happening, so you have closed your room completely. Okay, so you have closed your room completely, and with that what is going to happen, so there is the same air that is getting traveled. So basically it is the expired air itself. Okay, so expired air itself that you are consuming and you are taking in. Okay, so this expired air, you know that it will be rich in carbon dioxide when we compare it with the oxygen. So that is why it may also be experienced at high altitudes where the oxygen content of the air is low. So this one we discussed, so it is hypoxia. Then there is asphyxiation. So now when we mention about asphyxiation, just a second. Am I audible? Okay, so under asphyxiation, so this is a condition in which the blood becomes more venous, that is by accumulation of more carbon dioxide and oxygen supply is diminished. So this is result due to several causes, so that can be strangulation or drowning or any obstruction in the respiratory tract. So what is happening here in this case is, so you know that there is a alveolar, right? So I am just drawing this one is alveoli. Okay, and alveoli is basically supplied with what, so there is a capillary over here. So this one is now a capillary. Okay, so this is actually the capillary and this one is alveoli. Okay, so alveolus it is, so singular it is alveolus. Now here this one is basically made up of squamous type epithelial tissue we can find. So now what is happening, asphyxiation when we mention, so basically the carbon dioxide what is there, so this is completely accumulated. Okay, so there is accumulation of this carbon dioxide or maybe the more of a carbon compound. So basically there might be certain damage to the tissues, and when that happens, so there is no space for the exchange that has to occur. So here also there is one more layer of squamous epithelium is there, so which we call as the endothelium. Okay, so here also basically there is again, so here also there can be damage due to more of a carbon deposition. Okay, so whenever such things happen, so what will happen, so this oxygen cannot move in. Okay, so oxygen cannot move in, and here you know inside your body, so there is lot of carbon dioxide and that carbon dioxide cannot go out. So under such conditions, when the oxygen cannot move in and the dioxide cannot move out, so it will lead to a suffocation, and this needs to be treated immediately, or otherwise this condition will be followed by the death. So basically it will lead to the death of an individual. So it is a condition in which the blood becomes more venous. So more venous is basically you know the vein what is there. Okay, so vein actually carries what, it carries deoxygenated blood. Okay, so it will be carrying the deoxygenated blood here. So when we mention the deoxygenated blood is being carried, so in that case, one second, Okay, so in that case this particular blood is rich in carbon dioxide, so that means the accumulation of more carbon dioxide is there and oxygen supply is diminished. So this is due to several causes. So strangulation is basically there is no proper supply that is occurring. Then there can be drowning, so we can see, so in case of drowning also there is no proper supply of oxygen that is happening. Hi Priyansh. Okay, so there is no proper supply that is occurring, or any obstruction in the respiratory tract, so there can be the blockage. Okay, so there can be blockage which has occurred, so it can be fat deposition, any of the reason. So with that case also there is no oxygen supply or the blockage at the alveoli, like I just discussed here. So all these conditions what are there, so these are leading one to have the breathing difficulty, or maybe which we call as a asphyxiation, so basically by the deposition. The breathing difficulty when we mention, so that is with respect to asthma, so it can be because of blocked airways. So here this is a airway, now air pathway. Okay, so this is the air pathway. So now what will happen in case of asthma, so this is also a condition which is related with the respiratory system but not on high altitude. Okay, so now when we mention about asthma, so what will be happening, so you have consumed or maybe you have inhaled a lot of dust particles, or it can be pathogens. So the not for asthma is not with respect to pathogens anyway, so it can be dust particles or pollen grain. So what will happen, so there is lot of mucus that is secreted. Okay, so when this lot of mucus is secreted, so why the secretion is occurring, so that is basically to trap the dust or the pollen which you have inhaled. Okay, so that is when there is lot of accumulation of this particular mucus over here, so there is no proper passage. Okay, so for the air to be inspired or the expired, so that can lead to oxygen. So oxygen is not, your body is not getting enough amount of oxygen, and because of this also what will happen, so if there is no oxygen, so you know this one, right, so cellular respiration cannot occur. That means glucose cannot combine with the oxygen. That means the glucose oxidation is not occurring. So if there is no glucose oxidation, then there is no ATP production. So ATP is not synthesized. So if the ATP is not synthesized, then there is no energy. Okay, so there is no energy, then all your cells what are there, so they'll get weaker. Okay, so they cannot perform the function, and that is how you will start, I mean your body will get body ache, and also body ache is occurring. So that is mainly because your cells, okay, so this is occurring in cell. So cells without the oxygen, so they can undergo respiration which is called as anaerobic respiration. So there can be anaerobic respiration which can occur, that is at the muscles. Okay, and you know the product of this anaerobic respiration is basically the lactic acid. Okay, so there is lactic acid which is formed because of the anaerobic respiration, and that is when this lactic acid is gonna accumulate into your tissues. Okay, so accumulation of lactic acid we can find in the tissue, and it will lead to the body. So that is how those who are having fever or any cold, so that is how they will develop this body ache. That is mainly because oxygen supply is diminished, and when the oxygen supply is not there, so lactic acid is formed, and this lactic acid is going to accumulate and it will lead to the body ache. Okay, is this clear? So death follows if the cause is not removed quickly. So artificial respiration is helpful in certain cases. So this we can be, I mean this can be done. Yes, so what is the time now? Okay, so tomorrow's class, so some experiments what are there, so I'll just cover up those experiments. I'll just show you this. So these experiments I'll be covering, and then we can discuss the solutions. Okay, so solutions of Selena. Okay, so Selena solutions from ICSE class 9. Okay, so we will discuss this one in the next class. So that is basically the important questions from this chapter. Okay, so important important questions, and after this one, so basically after all these experiment I'll go through, okay, I'll be explaining about the important questions. Okay, so we will see in the next class. So time is up. I'll just, before I end the class, let me just say about certain features related to Unacademy, and then tomorrow's class I'll continue with this. So this one I can discuss. So yeah, experiments I'll discuss tomorrow. Okay, so this particular plant respiration and animal respiration we will see. Okay, so cellular respiration, it is going to produce the ATP, so as in mitochondria. Aerobic respiration will be forming the carbon dioxide and the water. Now with differences when we mention, so this was the similarity that we have with respect to plant as well as animal. Now in case of differences, no external ventilation, and here we can find the external ventilation. So that is basically the movement is occurring, so extreme small like amoeba and all, so there is no ventilation as such. Okay, so other than that, no special gas transport, so it is usually direct diffusion from the air spaces or from cell to cell. Okay, so here the blood system is going to transport the oxygen, also the carbon dioxide. So anaerobic respiration, here formation of ethanol and carbon dioxide we can see, but in this case there is lactic acid only is formed, that is in case of muscular tissue, and there is no carbon dioxide. This is with respect to anaerobic respiration. So they'll produce little detectable heat, and here considerable detectable heat is produced in case of animals. So then they have additional oxygen source, that is from the photosynthesis. Aerobic animals have only air as the oxygen source, there is no oxygen source for them. Next, other than that, respiratory rate, okay, so that is respiration rate is low over here, whereas in case of animal, so they require more of a oxygen, so respiration rate is high. So yes, before I end this class, I'll just say about the Unacademy Plus subscription. So if you are taking a Plus subscription at Unacademy, so basically you'll get all these benefits. You can learn live from the comfort of your home. Unlimited access to all the courses will be there. So there are different courses that are going on. You will be having access to that. Then top educators of India are going to take the classes, that is on one platform, Unacademy platform. Then there will be regular doubt clearing sessions. So after about every 3 classes, one session is about the doubt clearing session or answer writing session, so you can clear your doubts in here. Exhaustive coverage of a syllabus will be done, mentorship and guidance is given, study material is given, practice tests, live test series, batch courses. So you will have benefit of all this one, and with that you will also get a benefit of daily practice session, the weekly mock test series, live quizzes, daily MCQ and subjective test series. So you'll have all this. So all you need to do is, so you need to take the Plus subscription for all these features, and you can use my referral code VANIYT, where you will be getting 10% discount. Okay, so that is 10% discount on Plus subscription with this specific code. Okay, and yeah, so these are the respective months where you can go for. You can, depending on your convenience, you can go for any of these months, and you can use my referral code VANIYT. You can enter it over here for getting 10% off. Okay, so there is this particular Udan batch which is starting from 17th of Jan. The delivery of language is basically Hindi, and it is a all subject batch. So let's say you are taking a subscription for class 9. So for class 10, 11 and 12, so a subscription is going to be absolutely free. Okay, so same here also the absolutely the free subscription. So this one is Mavericks batch, and the delivery of language is basically English, and it has already started. Okay, Then there is param batch. So here you can watch the recordings. Okay, so here you can watch the recording. So this batch is already over, so here also you can watch the recordings of the session. Okay, and other than that, the free special classes, I'll be giving the poll, I'll be showing you the leaderboard. Also you can clear your doubts during a live class. So how to watch my special classes? So all you need to do is download the Unacademy learners app. Okay, and click on get started. You can enter your mobile number and OTP. You can sign up using the email ID. Okay, so after that you need to select your classes, that is class 6 to 12. Then you can choose the stream, that is ICSE class 9 or 10. Okay, so you can select your class. You can also select your preferred language, whether it is English, Hindi or English also. Then go to the description of this video, click on notify me. Okay, and there is special class link. Okay, so you can click on notify me and you can use my code VANIYT. Okay, that is to unlock the special class, that is for free. Okay, so all you need to do is download the Unacademy learners app now and try all of these features for free. Okay, so this is VANIYT. So see you all in the next session. Unacademy, let's crack it. Yashasvi has said something. Please take up health and hygiene. Don't aids of health you don't want. Okay, yes. Okay, yes, I have class on Sunday, so I think it is on skin, so you can attend that. Okay, yeah, I'll